are these 4 parts. The first part is your multiple choice part of your exam. And you have about 28 multiple choice questions. The skills you need to be able to use here are reading, reasoning, and recall. Reading, you read, it tells you something. Usually there's going to be a passage. Passages are anywhere to about, I want to say, between 100 and 150 words. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get about 2 questions per one of these little passages or little graphs or charts that they give you or political cartoon, and it's going to be based on what you just finished looking at. So you reasoning, you're looking at it and you're trying to figure out, well, what's the reason for this? Why did they give this to me? What are they asking me? What are they trying to show me? And then recall is, well, what do you remember from class? What are some specific ideas that you remember, right? So they may show you FDR, and there's something about him wanting to put in, maybe they're showing you a political cartoon of FDR and they want to show, and they're showing him, wanting to put in more judges. And you're thinking to yourself, like, FDR judges. What's going on? And then you remember, oh, wait a minute, he tried to add more judges. That was the court packing scheme, right? Because he was trying to push those New Deal, programs through, and he figured if he could get he kept getting sued. So if he figured if he could get the judges to agree with him, the lawsuits would go away, right? So recall is what you remember that you've been taught over the year while in class. Okay. Um, you figure it's going to take you about 2 minutes per question. Okay, so that's like 56 minutes. um so 56 minutes answering the multiple choice questions. When you're done, don't just jump into the next part. Take a breath, right? Breathe, but breathe deeply. Do make it so that you are aware that what you're doing is breathing deeply, because you don't want anxiety to take over. You don't want that test anxiety to start setting in. You want to keep letting your body know that everything's okay. You're feeling fine. This is normal, right? It's just like when you're sitting in class. So just breathe deeply. Then move on to your next part. Part two, you're basically going to get these 2 short essay questions, right? And so they want you to read. They're going to want you to now write down, answers. These not really questions, but prompts. Each prompt is going to tell you what the rules of the prompt are, right? So we'll look at that more in depth in one of the other videos. And you're gonna cite some evidence from the prompt, right? According to or based on the document. Um, you'll find some way to point to let the reader know explicitly, right, that this is where you're getting your evidence from. And then you explain what that evidence means in relation to whatever the rules are for the prompt. Okay. um you figure your entire response should be about 200 to 300 words. You say, oh my God, we got 200 to 300 words. It sounds like so much. It really isn't, right? So your average paragraph that you write is anywhere between like 70 and 90 words. So 200 to 300 words is not really far off. You're probably going to be writing 3 paragraphs. Okay. Um, each of these, short essay responses, like these 3 paragraph essay responses that you're going to write, it should take you about 20 minutes each. Just stop, think about what you're going to write. Give yourself a little time to maybe like bullet point it out or draft it out, or just ask yourself, okay, what am I going to write about? Do a short, kind of like a short outline for yourself, and then start writing. Don't overthink it. This is one of these questions that once you've read the document, you're going to let it flow. It's going to flow out, and can just keep asking yourself, like, am I following the prompt rules? Did I answer what the prompt asked me to do? Part 3A are short answer document based questions, right? So these are 6 to 8 items. um, Reading, analyzing, inferring, and writing, right? This is what you're primarily going to be spending these are the skills that you're going to use, right? Reading is obvious. Analyzing is you're reading carefully with purpose. You want to make sure that you understand what the question is that they're asking you. Inferring means you're going to be, kind of like putting it all together, concluding. Um, and then writing, just make sure you're writing in complete sentences and that you're getting the main idea out, and as in a brief but clear manner. So for 6 to 8 items, you're going to have about 24 minutes, right? It could be six, it could be seven, it could be eight, it could be 6A, 6B, 6C. Um, it's about 8 items you're going to do. And in between this, you're going to want to take a minute and just breathe, right? Tell yourself, you got this. You went through the documents. Okay. And as you're reading them, kind of like ask yourself, like just roughly, like, okay, what was this about? What is the general idea? Because what's going to happen is that when you get to part three, which is part 3B, right? Because you just did part 3A, those are the documents, right? Or the document based questions. Now you get to part 3B. This is where you're going to take those same documents that you just read and incorporate them into an essay or a document based essay, right? So a lot of the same things that you already did in part two and in part three, you're just combining it here. The same skills, right? Reading, writing, you're going to be citing, taking evidence from the documents, pointing to the document, according to document two or according to document three, right? So you're going to want to point out where that evidence is coming from. Anytime you quote evidence, you're going to want to explain. Stick to your traditional essay format, right? That's going to be 4 to 7 paragraphs. You say, whoa, 4 to 7? My teacher only taught me four or maybe five. It depends your writing style, right? So 4 paragraphs, you could do introduction, body paragraph one, body paragraph two, and then conclusion. That's 4 paragraphs, right? It might be on the light side, or you could do introduction, you know, body paragraph one, and you kind of explain a major idea or a major point. Body paragraph two, you explain another key idea or point. And then you get to body paragraph three, and you're talking about maybe one of the documents that was not as important, or sometimes they call this like a counterclaim, or some evidence that doesn't quite fit in, but maybe deserves some type of mentioning. And then you get to a conclusion. Some students may want to, go for the 6 paragraphs or 7 paragraphs. In other words, you're adding more body paragraphs in order to explain the documents. Maybe you had a lot to say about a document, and you had a lot of personal information that you brought in from your learning in social studies that you were able to bring in and kind of like beef up and support what that document was talking about. And that's great if you can do that. Just make sure that you're falling within the time frame, right? You don't want to run out of time with these things. So you should spend about 50 to 55 minutes writing out the document based essay. It's always worth taking 5 or 10 minutes to go ahead and kind of give yourself an outline that you can use. All right. So once you've gone through all of that, you've answered everything right, right? You checked it out, everything's done. Sign your declaration. You're done. Wait. You've used up all your time. That's great. And wait to be called and turn in your materials. Make sure that the proctor is checking out your materials so that everything's all right and you don't have to get called back to fill out something or sign something. And now you're just waiting to find out what your grade is.